What's up everyone, this is the first installment of Stand Spotlight, although with a lot more love since this is pretty much my main stand up until I decided to quit playing it a month ago. This guide will most likely be heavily outdated next update, which I hope doesn't come out as soon as I upload this, since that's always a curse for me, but maybe I can use this curse so CDR comes out faster, lol. Until then, I hope you enjoy this, and I'll include a Google Doc version of this guide with more depth, which will be updated more often as time goes on. Beach Boy is a mid-range zoner with strong tools for controlling space, which is most notably the fact you have the longest range M1 in the entire game, but you're also amazing at punishing mistakes. It can compete with other zoners along with keeping rushdowns at bay. Once you land a good ragdoll, Beach Boy gets access to powerful Oki and set play to deal big damage, so in general, its zoning style forces opponents to respect its many strong tools. Moving on to the pros and cons, we've got a lot to cover. As Beach Boy is one of the top tiers in the meta, it has many pros and only a few cons. Our first pro is that it has the longest range M1 in the entire game. This is pretty much self-explanatory, but you'll generally win every single M1 trade in the game because of the range. Our second pro is that it has pretty consistent damage that adds up pretty quickly due to the two free unblockable moves being Rod Throw and Hook Pierce having very low cooldowns, which leads us into another pro, which is that Beach Boy is for the most part uncancelable. This means that nearly 99% of your moveset is either hyper armor or straight up cannot be cancelled by any means. On to our fourth pro. Again, I'll tell you, Beach Boy has some nasty unblockable setups because of Rod Pull's ability to be used in ragdoll and keep people in place when timed. Our fifth pro is that some of Beach Boy's moves are somewhat concealed due to some bugging and not appearing when you use them in tandem with another move, but also the fact that they have no sound cue. These buggy animations make it so when blocking a barrage, unblocking and using a move mid-barrage will make what you're trying to do completely impossible to tell. Our second to last pro is that Hook Pierce most likely has the best bleed in the entire game. It does amazing damage while lasting 10 years. The last pro I have to tell you is that Beach Boy is honestly extremely easy to pick up. You might think I'm contradicting this by making a guide on it, but how I think of it is that there's always room for improvement, and this guide is just a nudge for all of you aspiring Beach Boy mains. There's no perfect stand in this game, and Beach Boy's no exception. It's got a few notable cons even if there aren't many. First, it doesn't have a barrage. Missing a universal mechanic is a big deal. Normally, barraging someone carries the risk they'll barrage back, but against Beach Boy it isn't a problem, which means you've got to rely on good M1 spacing and zoning to keep opponents in check. It also makes some close range moves almost near useless, since you generally want to avoid getting too close. Second, a lot of your moves are easily countered. Rod Pulls and Rod Slap are easy to parry if thrown out raw, and counters in general are the bane of Beach Boy, especially since ragdoll combos are very vulnerable to them. Lastly, the stand can be a bit inconsistent. Hook Pierce's bleed proc seems random, which is most likely due to them never fixing it, and Rod Throw can sometimes just disappear instantly, usually near invisible walls or meshes. It can also rubber band, which sometimes could be a blessing, but 9 times out of 10 it's a curse, since it makes any snipe attempt impossible. Beach Boys neutral is some of the best out there purely because of that godly M1 range. There's honestly so much to explore with this stand. Who am I kidding? This stand is very one-dimensional for neutral. I can't really glorify or over-explain this, lol. Most of your neutral is just spamming M1s until they use a dash, in which you then do 2 M1s into rod throw or hook pierce. It usually makes it 10 times easier to land, and I call it M1 locking since it pretty much gives them a small number of frames to escape with a move or dash, which is pretty much all you do until you get a solid ragdoll like the following moves. Your overall neutral is based on pure chip damage, and your set play or sometimes Oki is where your burst damage comes in. I'll show you most of set play or Oki you're able to do with Beach Boy with every spec to the most I know of. Aside from your set play game, you want to usually burn through your rod throw and hook pierce as fast as possible since they're very low cooldown unblockable moves that give amazing damage for how free they are. Speaking of free things, rod throw is probably the best reversal in the game right now since it's not really punishable whatsoever. Hook pierce however isn't as risk-free as it since it has an awkward amount of end lag, so again use hook pierce with caution when in close range, but you can negate some of the risk by jumping, which is also something you'll be doing constantly. I don't think I needed to cover this, but I should for those who don't have the knowledge, but these following moves shouldn't be used willy-nilly. You might be asking why, but I'll just give you a clip of what generally happens when you go for these. You think these guys are gonna stand there and take this? Nope, you'll get barraged for trying to get close without a ragdoll saving you from a potential barrage. Despite all of this, there are few situations where you'll be able to use this to your advantage though. This only works once as a barrage bait, but if you get a block break on someone, use liver shot or moves similar to it near the end of their stun time, as during block break stun they can't barrage. You want it to look like they'll be able to barrage you while you're doing the move, but you're actually timing it so you'll be able to use rod slap a little bit before they're actually able to barrage you, as seen in this clip. And our last tip for Beach Boys game plan is to mix up your unblockable setups. Dashing to the right to use Jawbreaker every time will eventually be caught onto, so try your best to be unpredictable with your moveset by either dashing to the left, right, or simply moving backwards and forward again to land the move. but you can also just simply use rod throw or hook pierce for a safe unblockable setup. Anyways, that's all for the game plan section. I probably missed a lot of stuff due to the extreme time constraints of this video, so be sure to check out the Google Doc we'll be posting that will be updated regularly. Going into this, you shouldn't really expect much due to Beach Boy's incompetence in team situations as expected. Synergies for teams are short burst damage combos or get stunned for 1000 years simulator via barrages. Unfortunately, Beach Boy doesn't have a short burst damage combo, as all of your quote-unquote combos are all unblockable setups which constantly ragdoll the opponent, which you don't want when trying to do something crazy with your teammate. Even adding in M1s with your teammate could end badly due to your M1s being so large you might do some friendly fire, and your unnatural knockback that normal M1s don't have will do more harm than good. There is one cool thing you can do with Beach Boy though that is very situational but stuns people for a very long time. Rod pull, as you know, has heavy stun, which means it can confirm into another rod pull, which on the surface doesn't help you, but it can help your teammate keep the enemy stunned for a long time due to rod pull stun being crazy. But it is important to understand this situation usually will not happen if the enemy's teammate is near you to bully you. Forgot to mention that rod pull is pretty decent for saving your teammates, but it's kind of inconsistent since sometimes it will stun your teammate, which leaves them wide open for a while, although you can just use M2 to give them invincibility for a bit, which will negate most of the stun time. Anyways, there's one last thing to go over, which is your M2, the only time it's actually useful, but this is more of a universal thing. Using M2s to break your teammate out of combos should be something you do all the time, since it ragdolls for little time and deals the least damage. I'm pretty sure Beach Boy's M2 is just as normal as any other M2, so this is more of a general thing, I guess. But now let's go over what happens when you're left all alone.
So you want to become a Bossraid Oni?
Even with all the aura farming I do on Bossraid Beach Boy, you'll usually lose. Zoning stands like Beach Boy are better suited for 1v1s, but you can still sometimes handle multiple opponents, though never without risk. Against 2 barrage stands, there's no truly safe window to play hyper-aggressive. Most of my success against groups comes from disorganized teams. Without communication, they fall apart, and that's where Beach Boy shines. But when fighting competent players, you got 2 ways of going about it: Ultra Instinct Beach Boy or Shambolic Beach Boy. UI Beach Boy is all about extreme caution and dragging fights out even to the 30-minute mark. It's safe and consistent, but very slow. You chip away little by little, sometimes only half their HP in the span of 10 minutes. You also need to account for if they run and pose while their teammate covers for them. This method works against strong, coordinated teams, but it's boring and, in my opinion, unreliable, since you often lose 50% of the time anyway, so you just pointlessly drag out a match that should have ended 20 minutes ago. It's also important to note that a certain Beach Boy player loves this playstyle, even in 1v1's SMH. On the opposite end is Shambolic Beach Boy, the style I prefer when the odds are against me. It's chaotic, risky, and often self-destructive, but it creates the scrambles you need to win. The idea is to constantly pressure opponents until they grow barrage happy, then punish with a risky rod slap. If it lands, you can even pull off a happy birthday combo and hit multiple enemies at once. Rod pull is the other tool we need to create this chaos. Pulling in one opponent forces their teammate to either rush in to save them or let them get schmixed. Staying close also raises the chance of friendly fire, and Beach Boy's pull makes this setup surprisingly consistent. Of course, fighting that close to multiple enemies can backfire and end your run instantly. But when you're outnumbered, the chaos and panic this playstyle generates may be your only real shot at securing a kill. Anyways, let's look at an example of a boss raid situation and analyze it afterwards. We start this off with me decently far away from them. I sadly was at 1 life and low-key forgot how many lives they had, but this does not concern a true master of being shambolic. The important part is that the low player is bleeding, so I need to take my chances to kill them while they're not able to heal as fast. Sadly, as I missed the rod pull into Haymaker, so I was nearly cooked for that mistake alone, but luckily they overshot their time skip and I was able to escape in time. From here I try my best to solely focus on the low player, and as you can see I jump to secure that I won't be hard punished for missing my hook pierce. When I did catch up to him I went in for the riskiest move yet, which is a raw rod slap. I got barraged for this, but the good part is that stand can't really extend anything off of barrage, so I just made the safe choice of unblocking just in case he tried for a gun or jawbreaker, but sadly I wasn't able to react to the liver shot, but he didn't do anything after, so I was left safe overall, making me win this interaction. This clip explains itself. When you play a barrageless stand for so long you just get an ability to tell when people will barrage, which is exactly what I did here. Afterwards you can see me hovering around them, which is another thing, always be moving and never stop. You're dealing with double the pressure, so there's no time to breathe. I went in for a high-risk bait, which is liver shot, since it's generally a free barrage, but luckily not much people know this knowledge check, so I went for a rod slap afterwards, which gave me the perfect opportunity to create a scramble. I get sandwiched and very low, so this is where I know I'll probably fall, so I went for another risky rod slap. But it didn't hit the other dude, so I went to retreat for a tiny bit, but he caught me and that was game. Overall both me and the opponents played very well in this match, so let's give a round of applause to these Sigmas. Now then, since we finished our definitely not long boss raid section, let's jump into matchups, which is a must learn for Beach Boy. We've made it to the last main section of the video. I don't want this hitting 30 minutes, so the in-depth stuff will be in the Google Doc linked in the description. If you don't know, matchups are just estimates of how likely one stand is to beat another. We've got 4 situations to cover, so let's jump in. Their only real threat is the counter. Normally they confirm bird, extender, and finisher, but since you're barrageless they can just barrage after the extender for over 50% of your health. RTZ can also escape unblockables, but it's not spammable, so those are GER's only big annoyances. The counterplay is just to bait the counter and to remember that everything except tree is cancelable, so your M1s shut them down hard. Speed is the problem here. As a zoner you want to keep them out, but their mobility makes that tough. You'll need to turtle hard during double excel, though time excel isn't as threatening. Once both are on cooldown, you can pretty much bully them. The counterplay is to go aggro when both speed installs are on cooldown, then only play semi-aggro during time excel. Similar to Made in Heaven but toned down. They've got strong mobility and gently weeps, which should counter you, but since your main projectile's ragdoll, they can't make an unblockable setup. It doesn't stun, so it's less annoying, but it does make rod throw a bit riskier. SP and SPTW share most of their counters, with a few key differences. Both have time skip and gap closers. SP's Inhale is safer but doesn't confirm, while SPTW's Skull Crusher is riskier but guarantees a free barrage if it lands. Outside of that, their close range neutral is solid, but it doesn't affect you much, just play normally while keeping those in mind. This stands amazing in the meta right now, with a fast block bypass and deadly combo extenders that are hard to miss and safe from your punishes. They also have TP dashes that can dodge or avoid your unblockable setups. Despite all of this you can actually play pretty freely, since their block bypass only becomes scary if you block it. That's when it temporarily disables your block and gives them a free lightning elbow. If you don't block it, it won't confirm into anything. Their only other option is Pinky Slash, but that doesn't confirm anything either. Beyond that, just stick to your usual game plan. Honestly, this one is a little complicated to explain in this video, so you'll just have to look at the Google Doc to view why this fella is a bad matchup for you. But to sum it up, I'll say it checks all the boxes of what counters Beach Boy. Their barrage still confirms red bind, often taking half your health, and they can also safely do a barrage after a red bind which extends how long you stay burning for. So what's the counterplay? MR's neutral isn't as strong as yours and they aren't rushed down, so you can close them out easily. Red bind's slower windup makes it easy to cancel if they try to catch you. MR can punish hard, but getting to that punish is tough if you play carefully and optimally. Strong close-range neutral and a stun counter. Barrage confirms uppercut alone is a huge threat. It can take half your health, so you gotta play lame and bait the counter to freely play the game. Sea Moon is also a pilot stand, so watch out for it if counters off cooldown. Otherwise they're pretty much a sitting target for your projectiles. Most don't upgrade pilot range, so zoning is usually safe if they do have their counter. This is just abusing your godly M1s in neutral and staying passive until an opening arises. Alright, I do admit that both KCR and KC don't actually have a 1-99 matchup against Beach Boy, but it's probably a lot higher than the previously mentioned stands. Now let me start off with saying that Epitaph confirming M1s means they can also confirm a barrage. You think this wouldn't be a big problem, but then you realize their counter has a very low cooldown, 0 risk, and they are able to use any move safely during the Epitaph duration. Counterplay is extremely hard, but your best option is to play extremely passive until you see an Epitaph. This means Hook Pierce is not good to use at all unless it is a means to bait the counter. They also have time erase and time skip in order to easily get to you, so overall you need to turtle like your life depends on it and only make safe plays. Very boring matchup that isn't fun for the both of you. This is also just a KC specific thing. KCR has a lot more things to annoy you, which is Scythe and Box. These are amazing for cutting down options for zoners, so you're at the most extreme disadvantage when fighting KCR, which is your ultimate counter overall. But if they choose to default to Chop passive or Raging Demon when counters are procced, then this matchup lowers dramatically to only a 30-70 since the counter was their means of skipping neutral. You rarely see Sturdiness 3 players, but when you do, they usually cuck your main combos, so I'll give you guys some Sturdiness 3 safe combos to use against them. Anyways, this should be the end of the actual important parts of the video, so thanks for tuning in, but now I'd like for you guys to know some perspective. I've always played with Beach Boy but rarely ever fought one myself, so let's see how someone who has fought it countless times thinks about it.
Silence, bro. Silence, bro. If my children, okay, if they start saying that they like Beach Boy, bro, I'm whipping them with the belt to the station of America. YBA. So all gimmick stats are bullshit and not enjoyable at all. This includes Beach Boy. Oh shit, bro, oh my god, what's this? What's it?
If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for Beach Boy at this micro instant. For you, hate!
Alright, David, I've heard that you really like Beach Boy. You know, there are some rumors that you like Beach Boy going around, you know.
Yeah, no, I can definitely tell that these rumors are absolutely false. I hate Beach Boy. I would rather die than say that I like it.
Well, I brought you here, you know, to clarify those things. I got some questions here that I want you to answer. Alright, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, the first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how annoying is Beach Boy to fight?
Honestly, 12. It is absolute cancer. I hate fighting that shit.
Alright, for your second question, what move do you think is the most broken in Beach Boy's moveset?
Bro, the M1s, bro, they make me say, oh my god, bro. It's so annoying, though.
Is the range like really annoying for you?
Yeah, mainly the range, and also the insane knockback. They kind of remove all of the weaknesses that Beach Boy would have.
I mean, valid. Alright, for your third question, do you think Beach Boy's strength outweighs its weaknesses, or do you think it just doesn't have any weaknesses at all?
Honestly, it doesn't really have any major weaknesses. The strengths far outweigh the weaknesses, and they kinda remove them.
Even the fact that it doesn't have a barrage, that is not a
Uh,
weakness.
if you have M1s like Beach Boy, you do not need a barrage.
Valid. All right, for your fourth question, do you think Beach Boy rewards skilled gameplay or it's just cheap gameplay?
Bro, hell nah, bro. Bro, it is brain dead as hell. No skill needed.
More brain dead than vampires, though, or not?
Bro, definitely, bro. Beach Boy is stupid brain dead.
Alright, so do you hate Beach Boy more or TE4 more?
Bro, easily Beach Boy, bro. I despise that thing with everything I got.
Alright, for your next question, what types of players do you think are drawn to playing Beach Boy?
Brain dead incels.
I don't think Skits is that like that, but how much skill points do you think Beach Boy really takes on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, my bad.
Honestly, 0. Like, it doesn't really take any skills. You just hop on it and you mash your left mouse click and you kind of still win.
I mean, valid, I guess. For your next question, where would you seriously rank Beach Boy on a tier list?
High top 10, near the top 5.
That
You know,
is-
in an
that's
annoyance
valid.
list, like in annoyance, easily the top 1. But
That is kinda- I would put it A minus, bro. I would put it A minus. That is not valid, bro.
Hell nah, bro. This opinion is shit, bro. Your opinion sucks ass, bro.
Nah,
This
fuck
is
this
the worst
interview,
opinion I've
bro.
ever heard,
Fuck this interview. I'm not doing it.
Now we've reached the end. This will be my only video ever that'll reach the 30-minute mark. From now on we'll only have a maximum of 15 minutes, but even then that's pushing it for me. I think this video covers the basics, but I left out many things that I wanted to include due to the limited amount of time this will actually be useful for and the fact that I lost a huge amount of motivation because of one thing. This is actually not even close to what a real stand spotlight will look like, since this is the only one I will make this long, but I hope this made you interested enough to subscribe. Again, thank you to all the people who watched the video to the end, and have a good night.
These niggas with attitude. Look at these niggas with attitude. The motherfucking world is a ghetto, full of magazines, book clips, and heavy metal when the smoke settle. I'm just looking for a big yellow. It's 6-inch stilettos, Dr. Dre.